Inflation is made in Washington because only Washington can create money. And any other attribution to other groups of inflation is wrong. Consumers don't produce it. Producers don't produce it. The trade unions don't produce it. Foreign sheiks don't produce it. Oil imports don't produce it. What produces it is too much government spending and too much government creation of money and nothing else.
Man, there's nobody who put complicated things better than Milton Friedman. Gosh. Anyway, we're a little bit of ways away from that way of thinking in this country. Joining me now, Representative Andy Harris, I should say, from Maryland, member of the House Freedom Caucus, which tells you he's one of the few good ones out there. Congressman, I almost don't even want to say this because it hurts me to even say it, but the national debt wasn't even $1 trillion when Milton Friedman gave that speech back in the 70s. Now it's 35. We are doing well.
Well, it's pretty close to 36. It's just completely out of control. Completely out of control.
Congressman, how do we stop it? It doesn't seem like there's any appetite to stop it, to be frank, with either party. I know we love to complain because Democrats spend as much or more, but Republicans love to spend. The American citizen doesn't see a problem with spending. It's as if there are no powerful forces trying to stop inflation. Everyone's mad about it. No one's trying to stop it.
Look, you're absolutely right. There's no question about it. The Uniparty here in Washington loves to spend. And again, people have come to expect it. Look, we have disasters around. People come to expect the federal government to come in, create dollars, because we're all borrowing the dollars. We're all creating these dollars to help with things like that. Again, we are $2 trillion federal deficits every year, year over year. And I have to tell you, Jesse, the only thing that will stop it is the thing that stops it happening in individual states. You have to have a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. You actually have to have a law that says you can't overspend.
Which seems like I don't want to overstate, but that seems like almost an impossibility because that kind of a thing has to be passed in Washington, D.C. And you'll have to forgive me, but the same group of people who just passed yet another CR, which in and of itself is a scandal, I need to remind everybody, don't seem like the same group of people who are going to vote to balance their budget.
You're absolutely right. All I'm saying is that that's the way it would have to be solved, but it practically speaking can't be solved that way either. Because you're right, we attempted to do it. I was elected with the Tea Party wave in 2010. We attempted to do it shortly after that. We couldn't even do it then when we had larger majorities in the House.
Yeah, what's going on with the omnibus bill, the minibus bill? I believe me, I've heard that no, there's not going to be an omnibus, but I'm sorry, I've heard many of those things before. I also heard there wouldn't be any money for Ukraine until there was border security, and then that disappeared like a fart in the wind. So is there going to be an omnibus, or is this just a bunch of Washington bluster?
Well, at this point, look, we intend in the Freedom Caucus, we will hold Michael Johnson to his word. Mike Johnson said that he is not going to do an omnibus bill. He's not going to agree to one in December. Again, if we win the elections, then I see no reason why we shouldn't kick all these discussions into next year when potentially we could hold both houses of Congress and the presidency. But look, we're going to hold Mike Johnson to his word. He said quite emphatically there's going to be no omnibus. Now, look, we have some skepticism on that too, because just like you say, we have heard this kind of thing before, but we'll give Mike Johnson a chance. He says he's not going to do it. Hopefully he doesn't, because that Christmas omnibus is usually loaded up and larded up. Honestly, if this were a regular year and Mike hadn't said this, we probably would have that omnibus in front of us pretty quickly with a $100 billion supplemental for disaster on top of it, with another $50 billion perhaps for Ukraine. Israel is aid as well. Again, we have to avoid the Christmas omnibus. The speaker has said he's not going to do it. We're gonna try to hold him to his word.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see if that happens. The Freedom Caucus, is it growing or is it shrinking? Because we really need you guys to grow and be even more powerful than you are.
Well, it's about the same size. It's been the same size for several years now. If it gets too big, the trouble is we don't have that many true conservatives in Washington, as you can imagine. So it's not an unlimited, we can't have the entire, it'd be great to have the entire conference, but we're never going to have that. So we have to be the vanguard of the conservative movement within the House of Representatives. That's our goal. And by sticking together and forcing the conference in a more conservative direction, hopefully we can, again, turn the country around to a better direction. But it is long, hard work, let me tell you.
No doubt. Congressman, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.